I broke a barrier and opened doors for not only black players but players of color until I read it in the paper the next day, and I was thrilled. Then I went back to back to Boston and played Sunday, and the Canadians beat us, and then I went back to Quebec and I finished the season out.
But it sounds like it wasn't entirely easy for you. Some of the reaction, unfortunately, by some of the fans, other players, other coaches. Could you sort of perhaps elaborate on what that was like?
Well, it was hard, but I have to give credit to my older brother, who was not only my brother and my friend, but he was my mentor. And he taught me a lot of things that I would need to know about the game if I was going to pursue hockey as a career. But yes, I was exposed to racism, prejudice, and bigotry and ignorance from players on the opposition and fans in the stands. But I had turned my ears off to all the racial slurs and racial remarks, and I was just a player that was out there on the ice, and I just happened to be black. But I never fought because of racial remarks and racial slurs. I fought because guys tried to spear me and cross-check me and butt-end me and things of that nature, because back then, none of the players wore any helmets, no face shields, no cages or anything to protect your face. And I always wanted to protect my face, and those are the times that I fought.
Okay. Are you involved in hockey now, and if so, in what capacity?
Yes, I'm involved with the Hockey is for Everyone program with the National Hockey League. And my duties are to travel around to these programs and work with these boys and girls. I speak at numerous schools, boys and girls clubs, YMYWCAs, juvenile detention facilities. Try and encourage more boys and girls to get into hockey, and I can honestly say it's a fun job. You know, first of all, my dad said, "Willie, find a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life," and there's a lot of truth to that. I've been at this job now going on 23 years, and it's just great working with these boys and girls and helping them set goals for themselves and helping them work towards their goals and become better, better people.
At the time, you were being a trailblazer, and you probably didn't realize that. Looking back on that now, what are your thoughts on the sort of the pioneer, I guess you were, for
a trailblazer, a pioneer? Yeah, they call me, but. I'm just so thrilled that I had the opportunity, you know, to play at that time and to open doors and break down barriers. And I've had the pleasure of meeting numerous black players and players of color that are playing in the National Hockey League at the present time. And a lot of them come up to me and say, "Willie, I can't imagine what you had to go through to make it possible for me to play in the league now." He says, I have the highest admiration and the highest respect for you. So that's nice to hear from a lot of these players.
I have to ask you one last question. You talk about the things that you had to go through, and if you're not too uncomfortable, can you discuss with us some of those things that you unfortunately did have to go through back when as the first player?
Well, you know, being on the ice, you know, I was exposed to, racial slurs and racial remarks, and you know, I fought a lot. I fought because I had to, not because I wanted to, but you know, players just wanted to see what I was made of. But I always kept it on the ice, and I says if I leave the league, it's because I don't have the skills and the talent to play anymore. And there were a few incidents that I had given second thought about just packing